This is the QTV Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM, and I am Lolly M. Kamara. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. And before the headlines, we apologize for the late start. At the Baku Hub Annual High-Level Dialogue at COP30 in Belém, the Gambia's Environment Minister, Rohijon Manjang, signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Azerbaijan to advance cooperation in climate resilience, adaptation, and sustainable development. The Young Gambian Diabetes Association on Friday joined the global commemoration of World Diabetes Day, held annually on the 14th of November under the local theme Diabetes and Well-Being, Diabetes in the Workplace. The annual commemoration aims to raise awareness about diabetes, its causes and its management, while advocating for better treatment of diabetic individuals in professional settings. The Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, with support from the World Bank under the West Africa Regional Digital Integration Program, has launched a 5-day consultative forum to develop an operational manual for the Gambia's National Cybersecurity Committee. The Pediatric Association of the Gambia on Friday held its 3rd annual scientific conference, bringing together health professionals, policymakers, researchers, and partners to discuss the state of child nutrition in the Gambia. In international news, as the world experiences unprecedented climate shifts, humanity's future hangs in the balance. Scientists warn that only a coordinated global response can cope the damage. In sports news, sporting facilities in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for the 6th Islamic Solidarity Games are of the highest quality and will leave a lasting legacy in the city. These are the multi-sports facility in the Volubat City area, Olympic Complex Swimming and Malays Combat Hall rather. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. Thank you for joining us. At the Baku Hub Annual High-Level Dialogue of COP30 in Belém, the Gambia's Environment Minister Rohijon Manjang signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Azerbaijan to advance cooperation in climate resilience, adaptation and sustainable development under the framework linking climate action with peace and security. Julde Jai is in Belém, Brazil, and Sina reports.
The implementation of the pilot projects under the Baku Climate and Peace Action Hub formalizes the Gambia's role as one of the first pilot countries under this innovative global framework. The MOU establishes a joint task force to coordinate and oversee implementation while ensuring national ownership. Minister Manjang explained how the Gambia came to be listed among the first pilot countries under the hub.
The government of Azerbaijan, we are the COP presidency of COP29, and from there they had a declaration that they called the Baku Declaration, which the Gambia reviewed and find the content to be suitable within our needs and our political commitments. Therefore, we endorsed the declaration and signed it. From there, the Baku presidency opened up a support team to engage into climate and peace framework, and they wanted to pilot certain countries. The Gambia was able to engage with the Baku presidency, and we are lucky to be listed among the first pilot countries to engage into donor support framework, working with the Green Climate Fund and IOM. I think this is a very important initiative because not only are we going to access climate finance to support our peace building in terms of with respect to climate change, but it's also another window that will open up for Gambia to be able to meet its target within its NDC and our long-term strategy.
The minister also acknowledged the support of the COP29 presidency, which was held by Azerbaijan, the Green Climate Fund, and the International Organization for Migration, noting that climate change is a very expensive cause that requires global solidarity.
Our long-term strategy is costed to $4 billion US. Within this long-term strategy, we have both the conditional and the unconditional support. government cannot foot the bill, and besides, we contributed only 0.1% to the climate impact. Why should we be pressurized to use our scarce national funds and being a tax-based economy to finance this bill?
Gambia's Environment Minister says her vision for the Baku Hub pilot is to empower women and youth, those mostly affected by climate change, but also the most powerful drivers of community transformation.
The finance we're talking about around some millions of dollars, but this can go up to $100 million, depending on how far we are able to manage in terms of submitting bankable project proposals. And this is even a very timely moment. The Commonwealth has just approved a technical support person that's going to support the ministry in setting up and preparing bankable project proposal for both our NDCs, our long-term strategies within the GCFs and also the JEF. So this is a very timely moment. Once we are able to prepare and then submit bankable project proposals that are fitting in terms of the donor partners, we'll be able to access up to $100 million.
Following the signing ceremony, Honorable Minister Manyang attended the first national coordination meeting of the Gambia delegation at COP30.
Minister Manyang described the signing as a decisive step from dialogue to delivery, emphasizing that the partnership represents the Gambia's belief that a stable climate is the foundation for a peaceful society. Reporting for QTV News from Belém, Brazil, I am Julde Jai.
The Young Gambian Diabetes Association YGDA on Friday joined the global commemoration of World Diabetes Day, held annually on the 14th of November under the local theme Diabetes and Well-Being, Diabetes in the Workplace. The annual commemoration aims to raise awareness about diabetes, its causes and its management, while advocating for better treatment of diabetic individuals in professional settings. Yafatu Gay tells us more.
Aligned with this year's World Health Organization theme, Diabetes Across Life Stages, the association emphasized that diabetes affects people of all ages and requires consistent support throughout life. Speakers called on employers to ensure fair treatment for diabetic workers and to adopt policies that create healthier and more accommodating work environments. Recent estimates shows that diabetes affects about 5 to 6% of Gambian adults, with national survey indicating a prevalence of around 6.3% among those aged 35 and above, figures that point to a steadily growing public health concern. The event featured personal reflections and expert insights. YGDA Secretary Kumbaba shared her experience living with type 1 diabetes.
There are days when my blood sugar drops suddenly and I feel weak or dizzy. Other days it rises too high and I struggle to stay focused or active. These moments can be challenging, especially for a young person who just wants to live life freely like any other person. But diabetes has taught me that well-being is not about being free from illness. It's about learning to take care of myself and live positively no matter the condition.
Seifi Singate, representing the Ministry of Health, discussed the risk factors of diabetes as well as its prevention and management.
These diseases are mostly behavioral risk factors, and it is important we highlight this because the day is commemorated to raise awareness. So it is important for people to know that these are behavioral risk factors mostly. Of course, there are genetical risk factors as well. But most of it is behavioral risk factors, and these are modifiable. Behavioral risk factors like exposure to tobacco smoke, either directly or indirectly. The use of alcohol, physical inactivity, unhealthy diet. It is important we highlight this.
Roland Schindler, chairperson of Diabetes Project, The Gambia, also highlighted the challenges diabetic individuals face in workplaces and schools.
Unfortunately, there are still many misconceptions. Some employers worry that employees with diabetes are less resilient or take more sick leave. In most cases, that is simply not true. With proper treatment and a bit of consideration, people with diabetes can perform nearly all types of jobs.
Participants took time to honor those who have lost their lives to diabetes and encouraged patients to remain hopeful, stressing that diabetes is not death sentence. With proper care and management, individuals living with the condition can lead long and productive lives. The event concluded with a renewed call for solidarity, understanding and advocacy, urging all stakeholders from families to employers to play their part in creating a Gambia where people living with diabetes are treated with dignity and empowered to thrive. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafat Gay.
The Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, with support from the World Bank under the West Africa Regional Digital Integration Program, WADIP, has launched a 5-day consultative forum to develop an operational manual for the Gambia's National Cybersecurity Committee, NCSC.
The event gathered key stakeholders from government institutions and partner organizations to discuss the creation of a robust, inclusive and actionable manual that aligns with the Gambia's cybersecurity ecosystem. In early November this year, the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy concluded a 2-day validation forum for phases 1 and 2 of a consultancy to identify and strengthen the country's cybersecurity management and critical information infrastructure. Sanusi Drame, Director of Cybersecurity at the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, says developing the manual is a major milestone towards enhancing the country's cybersecurity governance framework and ensuring a coordinated national response to emerging digital threats.
The objective of the consultancy is ambitious, but yet necessary. They include the identification and adoption of international best practices tailored to our national context, the development of a structured operational framework and standard tools to guide the committee's work, the establishment of classifications and clearance protocols to ensure secure information.
The consultation will incorporate international best practice, thereby aligning the manual with national, regional, and global cybersecurity strategies. It will establish a structured operational framework outlining the National Cybersecurity Committee's procedures, structure, and communication protocols.
At the moment, our economy and our public institutions, even our personal lives, are very dependent on the digital system. Whether we use social media, whether we use news, we are all reliant on the internet. That means we're susceptible and vulnerable to threats, misinformation, cyber attacks, and scams. The challenge is, how do we address this complicated, sophisticated threat? You can see it, I'm sure many of you are aware of the amounts of misinformation that has been pushed in social media and unethical practices.
Professor Abbasi also expanded on the evolution of cybersecurity over the past few decades and the effects of artificial intelligence, AI.
So over the past few decades, cybersecurity has shifted big time. As I said, quantum innovation and AI are making encryption easy to break. There is no such thing that is ever secure. In September, there was a conference in London, International Cybersecurity Conference, and I was honored to deliver the keynote address on national security. How has AI changed that dynamic space, and how do we protect our critical infrastructure? If we in the UK have our airports hacked, Gambia is easy. We have a mature, robust, historical system and lots of resources. Our banks are often breached. $25 million in May, one corporation to another because of deep fake.
The expected outcome is a robust, inclusive, and actionable operational manual that accurately reflects the realities and aspirations of the Gambia's cybersecurity ecosystem. The 5-day forum will equip the National Cybersecurity Committee with a practical, well-structured operational manual which will foster enhanced coordination, capacity, and resilience in addressing emerging cybersecurity challenges across the Gambia. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jacqueline Collie.
We'll now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have national and sports news stories. Do stay tuned.
It's time to celebrate women who lead, innovate, inspire and empower. Join us for the GWCC Women in Business Forum and Awards Ceremony. Prestigious evening, proudly organized by the Gambia Women's Chamber of Commerce, GWCC, honoring resilience, excellence and leadership in business. The theme for this year is For All Women and Girls, Rights, Equality and Empowerment. On that day, GWCC will give awards in the following categories: Women in STEM of the Year, Women Entrepreneur of the Year, Regional Women Agropreneur of the Year, Women in the Catering of the Year, Women in Green Business of the Year, and Lifetime Achievement Award. Be inspired, celebrate success, support women in business. Tables and tickets are available for sales. Linger table, $50,000. Garmi table, $40,000. Taru, $30,000. Jigate Jambar individual tickets, $2,000. Mark the date, Friday, 28 November, 2025. Time, 7 p.m. onwards. Venue, Sir Dauda Kairaba Jawara Conference Center. For bookings and information, contact 2031 080 319 2823 662 3282. At GWCC, women-owned businesses are our priority. This advertisement is proudly sponsored by EU.
Browse Bitus. QCell brings your promo like never before. Get unlimited internet for just $25. Yes! Recharge $25 and enjoy the convenience of free internet from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. every day with our Browse Bitus promo. With this amazing offer, you can browse, stream, and download all your favorite movies for free. So why wait? Recharge $25 today and enjoy free internet only with QCell between 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. For more information, call customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Bus, we innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. The Pediatric Association of the Gambia, PATG, on Friday held its third annual scientific conference, bringing together health professionals, policymakers, researchers and partners to discuss the state of child nutrition in the country.
The first day of the two-day-long event featured presentations, panel discussions, and interactive sessions on identifying gaps in service delivery, assessing progress made over the years, and outlining evidence-based approaches to strengthen child nutrition interventions in the Gambia. The president of the Pediatric Association of the Gambia, Dr. Adama Sala, reflected back to 1982 when he served as the country's first indigenous pediatrician. At the time, the under-5 mortality rate was a staggering 139 per 1,000 live births, more than double the current figure.
The morbidity rate for all age groups and the dire consequences in the form of physical and mental handicap is unimaginable to today's pediatrician. Since then, a lot of improvement has taken place due to vaccination against vaccine-preventable diseases, improved nutrition, which is the main topic of our discussion during this session.
Health experts note that well-nourished children are more likely to reach developmental milestones, perform better in school, and build resilience throughout life. In the Gambia, improving child nutrition remains a critical priority, especially as the country works to further reduce under-5 mortality and address preventable childhood illnesses. Here is Dr. Abdullah Bajan, representing the provost of UTG School of Medicine and AHS.
The biggest challenge we have in our part of the world is that we are unable to decide what we need to do or what our major problems are, because unfortunately we don't have a lot of data that is out there. So whatever comes out from here is going to add on to that knowledge to ensure that policymakers who are in attendance here are given the opportunity to see what the issues are and where best investment can go into.
The conference dedicated to the well-being of children is both a platform for scientific exchange and a call to collective action to ensure that no child in the Gambia suffers from preventable malnutrition. Representing the Minister of Health, Fatou Diba, underscored the country's current nutritional status and emphasized the critical importance of proper nutrition for child survival and development.
Our childhood mortality has reduced significantly, but it is still a problem and we want to improve as a nation. In addition, we have seen a new problem that is emerging, which is overweight children. And as we speak, this stands at 2.1%. This new reality is a threat that doubles the burden of nutritional challenges our children are facing. Therefore, a comprehensive, collaborative, community, people-centered, multi-sectoral approach is needed to tackle our current situation.
The two-day conference will explore key issues ranging from the state of malnutrition in the country and ongoing efforts to mitigate its impact, to strategies for building resilience and advancing nutrition-focused solutions. As stakeholders convey, the discussions are expected to reinforce national commitment and inspire actionable steps towards a healthier future for every child in the Gambia. Reporting for KTV News, I am Jacqueline Collie.
That's all we have for you in this news bulletin. Join us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. for another news bulletin. Thanks for watching.